Breaking news. On June 25th, 2025, we are having a Cancer new moon that I don't fucking hate. Shocking, I know. Now, there's still 2 days left to go. I could change my mind, statistically speaking, because I have a Capricorn moon. I tend to cry about 75% of the time with Cancer moons. I don't like them. My chart doesn't like them. I don't like crying my own tears, but this video isn't about me. It's about this moon. So let's get into it. Now, because I am a Capricorn moon, and because I do study ancient Hellenistic astrology, I do tend to run a little bit more practical in my interpretations. I don't tend to be overly enthusiastic. I'm not here to tell you that if you don't mess with this moon or you don't do something with that moon or manifest under this one, that you're fucked, because you're missing out. There's never going to be another moon like this one. But I really do like this one. Now, this moon is not without some challenges, and we'll get into that. But all in all, it's a really good moon set for manifesting or planting seeds that you want to grow in the long term. But you do have to work with the energy. That's a caveat with this moon. So let's get into why I say that. Okay, let's look at the moon. And here's the Cancer new moon of 2025. We're looking first here. We have the sun and the moon conjunct. It's a new moon. New moons are about seeding new endeavors, new plans, new processes. It is conjunct Jupiter. Jupiter is exalted in Cancer. This is chef's kiss, absolutely beautiful. We love this, okay? So this absolutely does have everything to do with bringing your emotional nature with your purpose into focus in a way that's going to allow you to broaden your horizon wherever this falls in your chart, okay? Now, the one thing that kind of gives me just a wee bit of pause, but really not so much pause, is the fact that it is square Saturn and Neptune. Now, it being square Saturn and Neptune isn't the end of the world because they are on the back end, meaning that they've already squared it, they've already perfected it, and now they're leaving that square. So it's not so dire as it was the previous couple days leading up to this. However, there is a teeny tiny element to cause you to take a moment to ensure that you're not biting off more than you can chew, that you're really truly seeing the situation and what you want clearly. So that's kind of like the one little it's okay, but that's not the end of the world. Let's keep going. We're gonna go ahead and get this aspect out of the way first because it kind of sets the scene for the rest of what I have to say. We have Sun, Moon, Jupiter all forming an inconjunct to Pluto. Now, an inconjunct is not an aspect that a lot of astrologers talk about, but it's a very psychological aspect. And I'm seeing this, I'm reading this as that thing that you desire, that thing that you are trying to plan, that thing that you are seeding for growth at the Cancer full moon in January is something that either consciously or subconsciously, or maybe even both, you know will change you. You know that this thing that you are trying to go for is going to require sacrifice. It is going to require intensity of action, intensity of change, possibly. It can have a very long-term change, possibly for the best, but change is often scary even if you know that what is on the back end of said change is going to be good. So there is definitely an intensity that you're sitting with on the precipice of trying to seed this new endeavor, okay? So now let's get into the sextiles. Okay, Sextiles are positive aspects, okay? But unlike a trine, which just flows so effortlessly, sextiles do require action on your part in order to harness or benefit from the positive energy of that aspect, okay? We have 3 sextiles in this chart. So this tells me that everything I've spoken about can absolutely be yours if you're willing to do the work. The first sextile I'm going to talk about is a little unrelated to the moon in that it doesn't make any aspects to it, but I think it's important anyway. And that is the sextile between Mercury right here in Cancer, as well as Uranus right here in Taurus. 29 degrees, 28 degrees is what we're looking at. So a pretty tight sextile. And when Mercury and Uranus are working together, there's going to be a quickness of the mind. There's going to be a way of approaching a situation mentally that you wouldn't normally approach that situation. New ideas, new concepts, revolutionary ideas. But we are dealing with Taurus and Cancer energy. So it doesn't necessarily feel quite as disruptive because they are in feminine signs. They are in signs that both collectively are very nurturing. So it's like having support for revolutionary ideas where you don't normally have that support. So I really, really like that. Jupiter, Moon, Sun, sextile, Mars. Perfect. This gives you the energy that you need to tap into in order to get the shit done. Now, it's also in Virgo. So because it is a sextile, yes, you're gonna have to tap into some part of yourself that has any ineptitude for organization, planning, making notes, making spreadsheets, whatever it is. Virgo is very meticulous and detailed oriented. You need to sit down and look at the details. What do you need to get this thing done? Where do you have availability of resources to get this thing done? Mars and Virgo is going to have you asking all the questions that are absolutely pertinent to all the details of getting this shit done, okay? Now, the final aspect we'll talk about, we already talked about the square to Saturn and Neptune. So that is a challenging aspect, but we do have something kind of mitigating it. And this is Pluto sextile both Saturn and Neptune. This is sort of the aspect that I feel really ties the whole story together. We've already discussed how the inconjunct between this little cluster of planets and Pluto is a conscious or even possibly unconscious understanding that this thing that you're trying to do has you standing on the precipice of great change in your life, and that it could be a little scary, that it's going to be intense, that you're going to have to make a lot of very transformative choices in order to get what you want, in order to go where you want to go. With the sextile to Saturn and to Neptune, though, there is that relationship where that intensity is anchored in. That intensity becomes a part of the dream. It becomes a part of bringing that dream into reality. Saturn is very earthy, Neptune is very ethereal. So when you combine all of these energies and the way that they're all making connections, for me, this is a story of making your dreams through your hard work a very real reality for you. And for that reason, I can genuinely say I actually really like this moon, and I hope you enjoy it too.